The number one most important thing to your film getting an audience is who is your actors.
The reason that I think this is an interesting question to ask you is because you have your master's degree in film and television writing and producing.
Right.
You've worked in the film industry, but you also work in technology, and you know a lot about tech stuff. There's this controversy this year with the Oscars about the use of AI, right?
Okay.
And the reason this came up is that it was discovered, or someone wrote about the fact that The Brutalist, which is nominated for I think 10 Oscars, which I haven't seen.
I thought you were going to see it.
I was going to see it, and then the showing was at 8:45 at night, and it's 3.5 hours long. So I was like, I don't think I can stay awake for that. The Brutalist used AI, and so I'll tell you in a second, okay? All these people were like, it should be immediately disqualified from contention for awards. What they use the AI for is the two lead characters, or I guess like the lead character and his wife, who are played by Adrien Brody, and I think is her name Felicity Jones? Yeah, Felicity Jones.
Okay.
Their characters are Hungarian.
Okay.
They speak Hungarian in the film.
Okay.
They used AI to change their pronunciation of Hungarian so they would sound like native speakers.
Okay. They use an AI tool to change.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It should be pointed out, and I think this is an important part of this conversation. Adrien Brody's mom is Hungarian. So Adrien Brody speaks Hungarian, but he's American, so he has an accent, right? I started seeing all this shit online, Twitter, message boards, whatever, places like that. Not places where you get like high quality opinions, but that, just no offense to people on Twitter, but like there are a lot of morons on Twitter for all of the cool and smart people. Yeah. People were saying, instead of using AI to fix a performance, why don't you get a real actor or an actor who can actually play the part?
Okay.
And some people were saying, why don't they cast a Hungarian? And it's
I can tell you why.
But that's what I'm saying, right? It's like people don't understand the economics and the industry of film and why you're not going to cast a Hungarian person no one's ever heard of when you can cast Adrien Brody.
Yeah.
And the thing about Adrien Brody,
Oscar winner.
Not only is he an Oscar winner, he is Hungarian. He's just Hungarian American. So what do you like in this particular, like, to me, because I want to talk to you more broadly about AI, but to me, when you say if they need AI tools to fix their performance, they shouldn't be in the film. I don't think that your ability to speak a language as a native speaker has anything to do with your performance as an actor.
Right.
And Adrien Brody, 100%, and Felicity Jones are giving those performances. And then they're using a tool to modify their language pronunciation to make it more authentic.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think about this?
I think it's kind of crazy that people are making such a big deal about it. If it came out and they used AI to write the script or edit or something like that, where it's a creative thing, I could understand that.
And you're replacing a job, right, that someone would otherwise have with the technology.
This is like, the reason, like you said, the reason you don't cast a Hungarian actor over Adrien Brody is because you're making a $50 to $100 million movie.
Well, I think their budget was like $10 million.
Still, that's a big investment for whatever studio, and you want your best chance of return, so you cast the best person with name recognition you can. People who haven't worked in the industry or haven't made movies, here's a little hint. The number one most important thing to your film getting an audience is who is your actors. Not your film, not how it looks, not who directed it. It's who your actors are, because those are the most recognizable. They didn't cast Schwarzenegger because he's like the greatest actor in the world. They cast him because of his screen presence, his name value, those sorts of things, right? That's why you cast an A-lister, and that's why they get paid $10, $20 million per film. That's it, right? So, no, I don't think... I mean, lots of productions do different creative ways of addressing the fact that these characters should be speaking a certain language and they're not, right? So one of my favorite recent shows, The Warrior, which is set in San Francisco, but
is that the Chinatown one? Yeah.
The way they do it is, because it has Chinese actors, right? But they didn't want it, and there's a lot of scenes where they're supposed to be, it wouldn't make sense that they would be by themselves talking English, right? But I'm sure they didn't want an action show to have a bunch of subtitles. So the way they do it is, it's really creative, is two Chinese characters who are together, they'll start talking in Chinese and they'll say like a line. And the camera will kind of like circle pan around them. And as it pans around them, the language switches to English. So what you're supposed to get is they are actually speaking Chinese.
Right, but
But
for the ease
for
of the
you,
audience,
it's
yeah.
going to be in English. But when it does that, you know that they're speaking their native language. So like that's a creative decision. And using an AI tool to help the language sound better is they're trying to appeal to a broader audience. Also,
And
they're
they're
trying
going
to be
for
more
authenticity
authentic.
too,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't think it should be counted against
So
them for actors. That's crazy.
so a couple follow-up things regarding AI. One is,
But
there's all these other movies that have used AI, right? So like Furiosa used AI in a number of shots, apparently 150 shots to transition the character from a child actor named Alia Brown
is it?
to Anya Taylor-Joy.
But is it also all de-aging? Doesn't it use some kind of?
Well, yeah, I mean that's kind of this article that I found does point out the fact that, like, for instance, the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown.
Well, Scorsese's Irish.
Well, The Irishman, but in
all of them.
the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown, there's shots of him on a motorcycle. Now, it's not him riding the motorcycle; it's a stunt performer, and you use AI to put the face on the. Fincher did the same thing in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, but was that an AI tool or was that just like human beings
Yeah,
using
but it's
CG
like
to map the?
Yeah, but it's like you can. When you do that kind of stuff, you do mapping by hand, right? And it takes a really long time. And now they've created a tool. So like my opinion with the AI is if you use it as a tool to speed things up, to get around doing some of the tedious stuff. Rotoscoping is super tedious because you have to go frame by frame. There's 24 frames in a second. A 10-second shot, that's 240 frames. You have to go frame by frame drawing that. That's where you see these budgets that go crazy. So if you have an AI tool that can simplify that process for you,
But
you're going to use it.
So then I guess the next question is somebody losing a job?
Probably, but there's nothing you can do
They don't
about
care
it.
because they want, right?
No matter how mad you get, it's not going to stop it because if it does a good job, they're going to use it.
So my next question tying into that is, what is the inevitable future with this technology?
So I think with AI, what it's going to be is it's going to simplify a lot of processes. I don't think you're going to replace big budget or like prestige or high level films in terms of you're not going to use an AI to write your script. You can use it for notes or outlining or whatever, but you're not going to use it to write or direct, edit, some of that stuff. What you are going to see though is your crews that were once 500 people, especially for special effects movies, is going to be like 200, right? Because maybe you had 20 people working on VFX shots in your film, and now you can have 5
And then
using
would
AI
they be
tools.
overseeing the AI or using the tools?
They would be using the tools, but you wouldn't need as many people to achieve the same result because you have all these tools. What that's going to mean is you will have way more people fighting for way less jobs. And so a lot of people will have to be out of the industry. Like,
So
there's just no way.
terrible for the people who are trying to get into the
It's
industry.
bad for, yes, I mean, it'll be bad for the industry, but like, what are you going to do about it? Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
You start your own movie studio.
You can start your own movie studio.
So then here's another question I have for you, because when we look at the negative side of it, it's really depressing, right?
There is
But
positives to it.
So is this something that you envision being a positive? Because this is something that I was thinking about recently, right? Let's say that someone like you or me, when we're still, I mean, we graduated from grad school like 10 years ago, so I don't think it's really, we're not like starting out whatever, right? Like, but if you're like in film school, you're just out of film school, or some other situation like that, where you have what you think is a great script and you have a strong vision, you have no access to actors, camera, budget, anything, you can go into or purchase or whatever an AI tool and make a movie. And you can put it on YouTube, or you can make a series or anything like that. And essentially a creative individual with a vision no longer needs to get through 12,000 locked doors and deal with all these mediators and money people, and people are going to tell them no. They can just go and do the thing themselves. Do you think that is that the future, and is that positive?
I do think in terms of art, I actually think AI is going to help because a lot of people who have no money, like you mentioned, will be able to, if they get a good idea, they will be able to create something, right? And I think we're not that far away from you being able to, I mean, there's still a learning curve, but from you being able to actually like create actors and scenes and sets with AI and actually like make a coherent film with consistent characters. I think we're maybe 5 years away from that because in like a year, it's gotten so much better already. So what's going to happen is a lot of people, like you rewrote, you made a sequel to Superman. right? Never going to be made by a studio,
Why not?
but maybe you
Just
can
because
make it.
Superman kills everyone?
Yeah, but maybe you can make it
Yeah.
and just release it. Not so much in the hope that like you're gonna make a ton of money off it. It's just a creative outlet. And what could happen for a lot of people is like, you know, a lot of people have a creative like itch or like a creative thing inside them, but they never pursued it because of reality. Like they have to work, they have to have health insurance, they have to provide for their family, they have to do whatever, and they
It's
kind of
sounding very familiar.
yeah, and they kind of don't get to do anything with it.
Mhm.
Now with some of these tools, they'll be at least able to create something. Now, I think 99% of it's going to be garbage because like the reason they're not doing this or being in the industry is because they can't. Just because they have an idea that they think is good doesn't necessarily mean it's good. But I do think you'll get examples of good stuff that people are releasing on their own. It's going to happen. So
So,
you can't fight it. And also, there's going to be a lot of naughty
right, I mean,
stuff.
that's the
The naughty stuff is going to be.
you're excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the ultimate like kind of pragmatic reality of it is there's nothing you can do about it. It's here.
You could stop it right now, and it's still too late because it's already out there. There's
So
open source, everything.
follow-up question.
Yeah.
And I your answer to this might just be it doesn't fucking matter because like you said, it's already here and there's nothing you can do about it, right? A lot of people take like their ethical problem with AI is the fact that these companies that have these AI tools scraped, studied, used the artwork of countless artists without permission. And now the AI is to some degree interpolating
Mm-hmm.
their work and producing something new, and they're not getting any kind of compensation for it. So essentially, is that a copyright violation? And is AI in some way fundamentally unethical because that is the foundation of it in a way?
So, is it a copyright issue? Yes. Is there anything they can do about it? No. There's nothing.
Because it's already done.
It's done. But also, it's like, how do you prove it? And what is like 5 million people going to bring lawsuits against them? Like, it's just not going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it, which sucks. I mean, that's going to piss people off. Like if I'm saying that, but what can you realistically do about it? It's already done. It's already been scraped. I get this argument a lot where people are like, man, I really want to, be careful with my data. And I'm like, dude, your data is like, everyone has it. Like you're like, I'm turning off my phone and I'm only using this and I'm only using an incognito browser or doing this. It's like, they have all your data. Like it's already out
so
there.
Can I tell you something funny? When there was was it in that like when the news broke that like was it Google was like looking through people's data or like this was like maybe 10 years ago or something, and all these people I knew were like freaking out. But I'm like, how did you not fucking know that? Like that's the whole contract with these companies. You use their shit, they take your like that's why they exist.
Yeah, it's like. You just have to accept that your data's out there, your preferences are out there. Nothing's really private. If you want to be private,
you just have to be offline.
You have to go off grid and just live like the Amish or something like that, right? It sucks because the AI really isn't creating anything. It's interpolating what it's learned into something different, but it's using pieces of what it's picked up. It's not like
will there be a point at which it is cognizant of itself and can be creative?
I mean, that's Skynet, right?
Right, but is that because I read this interesting article.
It's possible
with someone who works in AI development who was making the case that like that's like people don't understand fundamentally the difference between the AI we have now and like a thinking being.
Yeah, I think,
and it's a huge goal.
Yeah, I think we're pretty far away from it. I was using AI voice generator to do a voiceover for a quick tutorial video I made, and it was such a pain in the butt to get it to say like an acronym, like like the letters of a university. If you just type the letters, like say USC, it will be like USCA, right? So you have to like go U-S-C, so it says them.
Yeah.
Or if you try to say like med or like things like that, it just struggles, and that's that's pretty easy.
Was that recent? That you did that recently?
Yeah, like last week.
Okay, yeah. Shit.
So yeah, I think we're far away. What I think would be the best, like I think what the best outcome would be, and the best case scenario for everybody would be, if you use AI as a tool to help your films. Like you still make your films the right way, but like say you have a budget of $10 million, you do all the concepts you want, and maybe instead of a lot of films will cut corners. Like say if they're doing like a big post-apocalyptic scene, right, in a film, and they have a small budget, you're not going to see these wide expanses, wide shots with a bunch of things in it because it's expensive. You'll be a lot of interiors and fields and stuff like that. So maybe with AI, you have all that stuff. Maybe you can do your establishing shots, or maybe you can put stuff in that you can't afford to enhance your film, and then everything else you make with your film. Or like you, for some reason, you need a scene, you're doing a Western, and you need a scene with a train from the 1870s. Like you probably can't get a train from the 1870s.
Or if you can, it'd
on
be
your
like
film. Yeah.
really, yeah.
So maybe you AI that just to see a train go to lend some authenticity. to
Will
the film.
there be a point at which I guess I kind of know the answer is yes already. I guess more the question is like, when will there be? I recently rewatched Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
Those fucking battles at
they look
sea
great.
are insane.
Yeah.
When will AI be at the point at which you can watch two boats fighting on the water and you can't tell the difference between real boats?
A wide shot, a couple years,
But what if like you're in there?
5 to 10 years. I think in 5 years, 5 to maybe 7 years, they'll make a big deal of it. You'll have your very first like theater released fully AI movie where,
With no actors in it?
yeah,
So the actors will license their faces, or it'll just be fake characters?
just fake.
So it'll be like Toy Story kind of thing, like an animated. Like will the premise be this is an animated film?
That would be interesting. Like, how is the industry going to categorize?
Because
that?
I've been reading stuff about how like
That's interesting.
who's a big actor, Leonardo DiCaprio. He probably wouldn't do this because he's so intent on like doing the real acting and shit like that. But like maybe The Rock, right? I know from what I hear, like we have mutual friends who like have worked on movies The Rock has been on behind the scenes and stuff like that. His body is like really suffering now. Like he can't do the physical shit anymore. So he licenses his image and they go and make an AI movie that he's in, but he's not really in it. But
Yeah.
then would he do the voice, or would they just license his voice?
Because they can AI his voice really
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I don't know.
So if you're already famous, you can make fuck tons of money off of this.
Yeah, you could, but then do they that would
What happens to the next generation?
and that gets into legalese and like, do they have it just for that film? Do they have it for everything, for merchandise, for
Yeah.
a spin-off?
Apparently, this is kind of interesting, sort of related. Jet Li refused to do The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to be Neo, but he was going to be like another major character because part of the contract was that they would get to scan all of his moves and use them in any IP.
And that's like a big deal.
And he was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Hell no.
Yeah.
So I do think in 5 to 10 years, you'll see a fully AI movie. And by that, I mean like, there'll still be people working on it, but they'll create the film just using tools, like AI tools with actors. And it'll look like actual actors. It won't look like an animated movie. I think 5 to 10 years will be out. And then it'll be real interesting to see how the market will react, how
But did you then get into like an ethical debate of like,
yeah, but see,
what is the difference between an AI movie and a Pixar movie? And if there isn't one, then
do you feel bad watching?
But if you consider it just another form of animation, as opposed to thinking of it as replacing live action cinema, is it less of a problem? Is it really just the filters that people are using to look at it
It's
that's
possible.
the problem, not the tool
It'll be
itself?
interesting because also then too, say you get way more movies in theater and maybe that movie only grosses $10 million, but if it costs you like $500,000 to make, that's a good profit for like a really small team that works on it.
Well, and that's, I mean, to me, like part of the thing is like, I know this because I wrote a movie last year and worked very closely with the director, and he's directed music videos and commercials, and like he's done show reels for like actors because he's Mexican, right? So he's done this thing where Mexican actors who are moving to the U.S. to try to break into the U.S. industry, he would create reels for them and stuff like that. And we talked a lot about pre-production and all the processes of like pre-visualization and stuff like this. And like even on movies like the one that we made that is in post-production now, there are points at which, if he's making an animation reel to show the investors what a certain sequence is going to look like, he can use AI to do that, show it to them. That's not in the movie.
Right.
Actual animators are hired to make the thing that goes
that's
into
a
the movie.
nice thing.
But I was reading like a kind of thread on Twitter from people who work in the film industry, and they were talking about how the black and white thing with AI does not work in a realistic industry environment because so many filmmakers who are going to go and create something in an entrepreneurial fashion that will create dozens of jobs, if not hundreds, are using AI in their pitches to better sell the investors on what a movie is going to be.
There's a lot of ways to look at it. I think the one big thing is like all the strikes that happened in the past. AI was a big topic, and so like I know some people will be like, "Well, they'll never sign an agreement that allows AI usage." But I think that's like, all right, in 2 years they'll have another strike, and then they'll have to concede because studios will be like, "I can save $100 million. I'm not gonna. I don't care what you say. I don't care how many of you want to work or don't work. We can wait you out because we're not going to get rid of this." So they'll make concessions, and it's just going to keep going. Because I think what a lot of people are talking, it's funny to me when they say ethical. I'm like, you're talking about Hollywood. There's no ethics in Hollywood. It's a business. Like people like think everyone in the Hollywood industry and everyone making movies is like artists. And they're making, dude, that's like 1 out of like 50 people. Everyone else is just an absolute pig who just wants to make a bunch of money, and they're all
Be
gross
famous
and
or hang out with famous
disgusting.
people
Yeah,
and like, yeah.
like it's a business, so it's like take your ethics out of it. Most of them, all the studio execs could care less about your ethics. They'll talk like they do, and they'll say all the buzzwords, but they don't give a fuck. You can't assume they do because like they'll say one thing and it's like they'll be like, "Yeah, we have to have equal representation in this film. We have to do this. We have to do this." And then like next week behind the scenes, it's like this dude ran over someone, gave him like $1,000 and told him to fuck off. I'm like, that dude doesn't care about nothing. It's a pig. And there's tons of them like that. So yeah, that's
Fun
just
times.
hog talk.
That was a fun little mini episode.
Yeah, it was.
Little Oscars episode.
Hell yeah, daddy.
Thanks for listening.
Nah,
We'll be back
everybody.
with more of these fun short episodes.